Okay, so you've heard some of the cliche phrases, happy wife, happy life, never go to bed angry, don't sweat the small stuff. The tips for a long and loving marriage are never ending. But one woman in New York says she has found the secret, and that secret is living separately from her husband. Bianca Turetsky is coming up on her second wedding anniversary, and she says she has no plans to move in with her husband. Bianca, good morning. I cannot wait for this conversation.
Good morning, Margie. Thank you so much for having me.
So you and I have a lot of similarities. I'm also coming up on my second anniversary. And while I haven't done long distance marriage, my husband and I did 10 years of long distance from New York to like Dallas, Oklahoma City. So I understand some of the advantages. But I am curious, how did this all come about for you? And when did you decide to buck tradition?
Well, it came about, the logistics of it came about because I have a cat named Cleo, who I love, who I think may walk across the screen in a minute.
I hope so.
Oh, there she is. And Peter and his son are both severely allergic to cats. So we knew logistically moving in together would be a challenge, but it ended up being a blessing in disguise because we were able to pump the brakes for a moment and just ask ourselves, what would actually make us happy in this marriage? And we realized we could think outside of the box. We didn't have to follow a tired script that's been written for, hundreds of years before. And both of us are very independent people. We love having our own space. We love being together, but it was just exciting to be able to write our own chapter.
This works for you. Yeah, if there's one thing I learned, it's nobody else writes it for you. You do what works for you and your marriage.
Exactly.
And you're not next door to each other, might I add. This is almost a 40-minute commute from your place to his. Are there rules or a scheduled time to see each other? It sounds like he has a child. So how do y'all navigate this?
There aren't any rules, but one of the exciting things is that the time we spend together is really quality time because we have to be deliberate about our time together. So, I do most of the commuting because he can't come to my apartment because of Cleo. But every dinner still feels like a date 6 years in. So
I love that.
There's plus sides too.
And I was reading it's not just your cat. You also have a strong, special relationship with the apartment that you live in, right? You said my apartment was my refuge after a hard breakup. I bought it, I moved, I rebuilt my life. It has history. It's part of my family.
Yeah, I love this apartment. I'm very proud of. It's small, but it's mine, and it felt hard to give up. And I feel like when you get married later in life, you do have this life built around you already. So it's been wonderful to be able to incorporate this love and this marriage, but also keep the independence and the apartment that I love so much.
And just a few seconds left. Is there anything that would change the game for you guys? Is there a circumstance where you would move in together?
Well, I think the exciting thing about relationships is that they're dynamic and they hopefully do change as you change as a person. So the conversation's always open. Who's to say where we'll be in a few years? But for now, this is what works really well for us.
Yeah. Adrienne has a question, I think.
Bianca,
Pop her up.
If it's too personal, you can say, Adrienne, I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
But your husband and his son are severely allergic to cats.
Yes.
You have a cat. When you enjoy the benefits of marriage, do you go over to his house and just have to launder everything and scrub? Because it's the dander and the cat hair, right?
It's
Is this
everywhere.
too personal? But I'm really curious.
I have a great lint roller that I use before I go out.
I love that.
But so far, it hasn't been an issue.
She's figured it out.
I'm so glad, because that would kind of put a damper on things in the romance department, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, my gosh. I love that. Bianca Turetsky, thank you so much. And, I think a lot of
You're
people
adorable, by the way, Bianca.
watch this and say, you know what? My situation, our situation is normal. I'm glad people like her are speaking up.
Different love stories for different folks.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.